Hi everyone. Today and this week we are talking about using and understanding context clues to be better readers. So let's review a little bit about context clues and then we are going to do some practice together. What are context clues? Context clues are hints that an author gives to help define a difficult or unusual word. The clue may appear within the same sentence as the unknown word, or the clue may be in a surrounding or nearby sentence. You must hunt for the clues. How do readers use context clues? Readers pay attention to the pictures, the surrounding sentences, any synonyms or antonyms given, any word parts used, the examples and definitions given, and any helping words that are used. There are a few different types of context clues. One is the definition, and that explains the meaning of the word right in the sentence. For example, you can tell Mrs. Leonard is benevolent by the way she treats everyone kindly. The orange word is the word that we are trying to figure out and solve and understand. And the underlined word kindly is the definition. It tells us what the orange word means. Another type of context clue is an example. And an example gives an example of the word. For example, Mrs. Leonard is a benevolent person and feeds the homeless every Saturday. So the underlined phrase, feeds the homeless every Saturday, is an example of how she is benevolent. So that's help you figure out what that orange word means. Another type of context clue is a synonym, and that gives a word with the same meaning as the unknown word. So for example, Mrs. Leonard is benevolent and generous to others who are in need. In this case, the underlined word is generous, and that's a synonym to benevolent. Another type of context clue is an antonym. That an antonym gives a word with an opposite meaning for the unknown word. So for example, Mrs. Leonard is benevolent, but her brother is uncaring. So in this situation, the underlined word uncaring is the antonym of benevolent, the opposite. Another type of context clue you might come across is an inference, and that's when you just think about what makes sense. We talked about making inferences last week. I know Mrs. Leonard will want to help feed the homeless. She is very benevolent. So the underlined phrase, she will want to help feed the homeless, you can infer that benevolent means that she is kind. Another type of context clue is when there's a helping word. Sometimes there might be a word or phrase in a sentence that connects a word to its meaning. For example, like, such as, or, are, called, named. You can also use word parts to help you figure out what a word means. A word might contain a prefix, suffix, or root word that helps give meaning to that unknown word, like re, un, full, ness, by, aqua. There's so many strategies you can use to solve unknown words. So let's practice some of those right now. We reviewed these different types of context clues, and now we're going to do these 4 sentences to figure out what these words mean. Read the sentence, underline the part of the sentence that helps you find the meaning, and then write a definition for the word in bold. Use context clues. Okay. So this first one, the man who used to be very lax with the rules now follows all the laws. So think to yourself, what does the word lax mean and how do you know? So we can use the context clues to figure out what the word lax means. Right here, we see I'm going to highlight the clues in the text. Used to be very lax with the rules. Now follows all the laws. Okay? So let's look up here. I think this one gives us an antonym. Okay? So now follows all the laws is an antonym, is the opposite of what they used to be like with the rules. So if they now follow all the rules, but they used to be very lax with the rules, what do you think that means? I think lax means relaxed or not serious. Okay? And we use an antonym strategy for context clues to figure that out. Let's move on to the next one. Number 2. The comestibles, including a huge pizza, a birthday cake, chocolate-covered peanuts, and tasty hot dogs, were all in the fridge before my birthday party. That is quite a big word, okay? We need to use the clues in the sentence to figure out what the word comestibles mean. So here, I think we have a few examples of what comestibles are. We have a huge pizza, a birthday cake, chocolate-covered peanuts, and tasty hot dogs. That's using an example. Specific examples in the sentence help define the term. So using those examples, what do you think comestibles means? Using those examples, I think comestibles are food items, right? Those are examples of food: pizza, birthday cake, chocolate-covered peanuts, and hot dogs. So I used the examples in the sentence, those context clues, to help me figure out what the word means. Let's do number 3. She was so erratic that she would be in a great mood one minute and crying the next. You never could predict the way she'd act. Okay? So we need to use the clues in this sentence to figure out what the word erratic means. So the clues in the text are example clues, example context clues. And the example is, she would be in a great mood one minute and crying the next. That's an example of her being erratic. So using that context clue, what do you think the word erratic could mean? So using the clues, I think the word erratic means unpredictable, because that is an example of someone being unpredictable. She would be in a great mood one minute and crying the next. Okay, let's move on to our last example. The brawl or fight on the playground got both kids sent to the principal. So using the context clues, what do you think the word brawl means? So looking at this sentence right here, we have what we call a definition context clue or explanation. The word is explained right there in the sentence or defined right there in the sentence. So this is like the easiest kind of context clue to use. If it says right there in the sentence, or fight, what do you think the word brawl means? So using the context clue and the explanation definition, I think the word brawl means fight. Okay, so that is some ways you can practice using context clues and figuring out what words mean in a sentence or a text.